The night they tried to humiliate General Nathaniel Hayes in the sleepy town of Cedar Vale, Georgia, a forgotten off I-95, no one anticipated anything unusual. It was a cool Friday evening, the diner's lights flickering, sidewalks deserted, and the air heavy with that thick southern stillness, like a held breath. But what unfolded would soon sear itself into the nation's consciousness. Lieutenant General Nathaniel Hayes, 52, pulled into the parking lot of Dottie's Diner for something simple, a burger, coffee, and a moment to gather his thoughts before heading to Fort Stewart for a classified briefing. After 30 years of service, with tours in Iraq and Afghanistan and a chest full of medals marking him as one of the Army's most decorated officers, Hayes wasn't seeking trouble. Trouble found him. His navy blue dress uniform was immaculate, ribbons aligned, stars on his shoulders gleaming like mirrors in the moonlight. His silver hair was close-cropped, his posture rigid, his presence unmistakable, a man shaped by discipline and honor. He stepped out of his rental sedan and into the diner, unaware of the storm brewing nearby. Inside, he was met with warmth. Dottie, a waitress in her 60s with a memory like a steel trap, gave him a nod. She didn't know him, but his kindness and respect stood out. Truckers tipped their hats. A family paused their meal. The jukebox played a soft country tune. Hayes took a corner booth, ordered a cheeseburger, and sipped black coffee while reviewing Pentagon emails and a text from his wife, Eleanor, urging him to stay safe. Outside, Officers Travis Benton and Luke Ramsey leaned against their patrol cruiser, eyeing Hayes through the diner's wide window. Benton, mid-30s with a paunch and a perpetual scowl, squinted. "Military plates," he muttered, "but something's off. That guy looks like he's in a costume." Ramsey, younger, brash, with a buzz cut and an attitude, scoffed. "Probably fake, playing soldier. Wouldn't be the first. They didn't run the plates. They didn't check ID. They didn't ask questions." They watched, suspicion simmering, itching for a confrontation. Inside, Hayes finished his meal, left a generous tip, thanked Dottie, adjusted his tie, and stepped into the night, his mind already on the next day's briefing. His boots clicked on the pavement until a sharp voice cut through. "Freeze." Hayes stopped, turning slowly. Benton's flashlight beamed into his eyes, an intimidation tactic. "Evening, officers," Hayes said calmly, hands visible. "Is there a problem?" "That's one hell of a get-up," Benton sneered. "Where'd you buy it?" "Surplus store." "It's not a costume," Hayes replied. "I'm Lieutenant General Nathaniel Hayes, United States Army." Ramsey circled behind, smirking. "General, huh? Got ID to back that story." Hayes nodded, indicating his wallet. "Left pocket." "May I?" "Slow," Benton barked, hand near his holster. Hayes moved deliberately, handing over his ID. Ramsey glanced at it, tossed it to Benton. "Could be fake," Benton muttered. "You don't look like any general I've seen." "And how many black generals have you met?" Hayes asked, voice steady, cutting like a blade. A small crowd had gathered outside the diner, phones out, eyes wide. Dottie stood in the doorway, arms crossed, frowning. "Don't play smart," Benton growled, stepping closer. "We're verifying this, and if you're lying, you're done." "I suggest you call Fort Stewart," Hayes said. "Ask for Colonel Sandra Holt. She'll confirm my identity." Ramsey laughed. "We're not playing phone a friend. Hands on the car now." "I'm not resisting," Hayes said, "but you have no grounds to detain me." That was enough for Benton. He grabbed Hayes's arm, twisted it behind his back, and slammed him against the sedan's hood. Cuffs snapped tight, the metal biting Hayes's wrists. He didn't flinch. "You're under arrest for impersonating an officer and resisting," Benton said, inflated with authority. "You might want to check the contact labeled Pentagon in my phone," Hayes said coolly. "Before this gets worse." Benton scoffed, shoving him into the cruiser's back seat. The crowd outside the diner grew louder. People filmed. Dottie was on the phone, her voice sharp with anger. The Cedar Vale police station was a low, concrete building reeking of mildew and arrogance. Hayes was chained to a table in a holding room, his uniform wrinkled, a dirt smear on the sleeve, but he sat tall, eyes piercing. Outside, Benton and Ramsey gloated. Probably some guy with a delusion, Ramsey said. But the whole setup online. Hayes ignored them, staring at the clock, waiting. At 11:43 p.m., the station's chief, a weary, broad-shouldered man named Walter Grayson, entered, holding Hayes's ID. "This says you're a 3-star general," he said, skeptical. "That true?" "Yes," Hayes replied. "Your officers would have known if they'd done their job instead of playing vigilante. They said you were mouthy. Something didn't add up. I offered my ID. I told them to verify. They ignored me." Grayson rubbed his temples. "Fine. One call." He slid the desk phone over. "Put it on speaker," Hayes said, his gaze unwavering. He dialed. The line connected. "Office of the Deputy Secretary," a voice answered. "This is General Hayes. Connect me to Secretary Clifton." "Priority 1, the voice replied, tone shifting instantly. "Yes, sir." "One moment." Benton chuckled nervously. Then a voice boomed through. "General Hayes, what in God's name is going on?" Hayes spoke with precision. "I'm in custody at Cedar Vale PD. Officers Benton and Ramsey arrested me on false charges of impersonation. I provided ID. I complied. They refused to verify. I need this resolved. Now." Silence, then a thunderous response. "Chief Grayson." "Yes, ma'am," Grayson stammered. "You're holding a decorated officer who's served this country with honor. Release him immediately, or expect federal intervention by sunrise." "Am I clear?" The room froze. "Yes, ma'am," Grayson said, voice breaking. "Good. Now apologize to that man." The cuffs came off. Hayes stood, rubbing his wrists, his stare icy. "This wasn't a mistake," he said. "It was a choice." By morning, the footage from outside Dottie's diner was everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, news networks. Hashtags surged. Hashtag General Hayes disrespected. Hashtag Justice for Hayes. Dottie became an unlikely hero. "He was nothing but kind," she told reporters. "Those cops saw a black man and decided he couldn't be who he said he was." Cedar Vale couldn't bury it. Protests erupted, signs reading "Respect our service" and "Rank doesn't shield color." Benton and Ramsey were suspended within days, their records revealing prior complaints of racial profiling and excessive force, long ignored. The Pentagon launched a national review of racial bias in law enforcement interactions with military personnel. Secretary Clifton addressed Congress. Hayes was invited to testify but declined. "I don't need a podium," he told a colleague. "I need change." He returned to Fort Stewart, briefed his team, and met with young officers. A black female captain approached him afterward. "How do you keep going after that?" she asked. "You don't keep going," Hayes said. "You hold steady. You carve space for those who come next." Weeks later, Cedar Vale's police chief resigned. A reformer, Monique Carter, from Atlanta, took over, implementing bias training, community oversight boards, and mandatory civilian engagement reviews. Dottie's diner hung a photo of Hayes on its wall beside a plaque. "Integrity walks softly, but leaves deep prints." Hayes never went back. He didn't need to. That night's echo rippled through neighborhoods, classrooms, and precincts. His story wasn't unique, but his quiet defiance made it undeniable. Cedar Vale was forever changed, its police force humbled, its community awakened. If you ever feel unseen or dismissed, remember, you don't need to shout to shift the world. Stand firm as you are, and the world will adjust.